Well, I didn't exactly see what happened, per se. But I don't think we should jump to any conclusions. And as the assistant district attorney, I urge everyone to be calm.
Have you observed anyone not being calm?
No, I guess. This neighborhood is actually handling the shooting of an unarmed black man pretty well.
Let it change. Do it with some soul and a little love. Change. Yeah, it's about the love. Change. Do it with some soul and a little love. Change. You can't make a change unless you got the love. Change. Do it with some soul and a little love. Change. You can't make a change unless you got some love. Change. Do it with some soul and a little love. Change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I gotta shoot the truth. My art is my art.
Welcome back to episode 14 of the Boondocks Podcast. If you're listening to this, congratulations, you survived 2020. This episode, we're going to cover season 1, episode 14, The Block is Hot, in which Jasmine learns the true meaning of capitalism when she sells her lemonade stand to corporate tycoon Ed Wensler. Y'all, my personal synopsis is holy shit. If you ever had any doubt if Magruder was a psychic or anything, whoa, watch this episode. Right? Because it was like, can we even do this? Can we do this? Too soon?
I don't know. I mean, originally we would have been doing this episode, the week of Christmas, I believe. So before we go any farther, I would like to thank everybody out there in the audience who reached out with your condolences for the death of my father right before Christmas. Yeah, it's still a thing. So it'll probably come up a lot because it's a thing. But anyway, if we had done this, I think, before everything that's happened in the last 3 weeks, I don't feel like it would have the same hit. You know, like we were kind of joking before we started recording about how do we try to catch up from the last episode, or just, you know, where do we draw the line at the news? All of the news.
Lord.
Seriously.
I
mean, yeah. So, I mean, I guess, okay. So, 1 week ago, there was several, 100,000 people, maybe more, depending on who is claiming the size, tried to storm Congress and wanted to execute Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. And
wow.
Oh, yeah. So that was a very interesting news day that is still basically happening.
Did they verify that they were going to try to go in and get Nancy Pelosi? Because I know it was like hearsay.
Oh, no, it was not hearsay.
24 hours. Did they verify it?
There are literally videos of people shouting, "Hang Mike Pence, where's Nancy? Hang Mike Pence, where's Nancy?" They erected.
So they had the audacity to breach the Capitol, to commit treason, and then they were going to commit murder as well.
Oh yeah, they thought this was going to be the beginning of a civil war. They attempted a coup, and actually, like today, I don't know if this one's been verified because I only heard it once and I haven't had a chance to check it out, but. Apparently, one of the people who has been arrested for kind of steamrolling this whole thing, is claiming that there are three Republicans inside Congress that basically told them where to find certain people's offices and things like that. So yeah, so this was absolutely an attempted coup, no matter how much people are now calling for unity. And like,
bullshit.
right?
You guys blamed it on Antifa.
Right?
If there had been any black people in the vicinity, you would have said Black Lives Matter was into it as well. Like, stop.
Girl,
like,
if there had been black people there would have been a hell of a lot more than 5 people dead. Yeah.
True. I'm saying, like, of course, if the group had been black.
Yeah, and the National Guard would have been called
in there, because the media immediately tried to make it seem more, they're supporters that want to act like they're not supporters in the media. They immediately tried to flip it and say, it was Antifa. That was an Antifa move. That was an Antifa look. No, I'm sorry. Let's say, first of all, Antifa does not show their face.
Right?
Antifa does not tell who they are.
Right?
Antifa does not wear their work badge to the event.
Right.
Antifa
knows to use a burner phone so you can't track who was inside.
Yes. I was telling my husband, I said, I would be pissed. If I was Antifa, I would come out and be like, look, okay? They don't represent shit that we do. Yeah, so.
I mean.
Wow.
If you were Antifa, I'm Antifa. Antifa literally just means that I'm anti-fascist. There is no Antifa movement. That is literally like you are either fascist or you are not fascist. And I am not fascist. Therefore, I'm Antifa.
Yeah.
To me, Antifa is a character from Final Fantasy VII. But did you guys hear about Eugene Goodman? So this is what I read about this whole thing.
Oh, shit. I love him.
Yes, he's our Black Excellence police officer. Yeah, I guess. Don't make me second guess ACAB. But he basically was the Black security officer who led the mob away from the Senate chamber. And the FBI is saying if this man had not reacted in the manner in which he reacted, we're talking about like seconds while security was locking the chamber down, that they would have succeeded in their mission, which was more calculated than we know. They were going to take out everyone in the chain of command to follow up after Trump. So he quickly did that whole thing on his security walkie-talkie where he was like second floor, and he just kept running from them, and they were following him, and he was able to divert the crowd long enough to really save the fucking day.
Well,
so,
and also, he was like, stop it.
And hats off to Stacey.
And they all did.
So that's not it, though. That's not everything. When he got to the second floor, he realized that the door to the offices that are the senator's offices was wide open, and there were no cops there yet. There is video of him realizing, you can see him look down the hall and then push the guy who was in the front of the crowd and get him to follow him around the corner. Because if they had gone down that hallway, that would have led them directly to where people were were sheltering in place, essentially.
Wow.
Holy fuck,
man. I mean, just the more information, the more clips, the more that, news media or somebody does like a minute by minute or an hour by hour, it becomes much more clear that there needs to be a lot more people that are brought up, on charges. Those that are in the law enforcement, for example, the one that was taking the selfies.
He's already been fired. He's already been fired.
Good.
Like if you watch the news as much as we unfortunately watch the news, but also we're like Twitter crawlers, so like amateur videos, people who were literally live streaming while they were there because they're fucking idiots and they thought that they were like at the start of this magical historical moment that was going to make them into the next, I don't know, what's his name? What's the Alamo? Davy Crockett or Jim Bowie or, Patrick fucking Henry. Can we just not even go there, mother-in-law? Yes, and so one of the other things that they were trying to do was steal the paper electoral ballots that they were literally like counting there. The whole reason why Congress was meeting was to certify the election that day. Yeah. So they were going through the paper ballots when all of this was going down, and there are so many things. There are so many things that we could talk about when it just comes to the riot itself. But I really kind of want to, just for a second. Now, you've got these people who are doing their jobs at the what is it? What building was that? At the Capitol building. Okay. They have no idea what's going on outside. They
None.
just know that they're starting to hear broken glass. A lot of the Congress people who have been interviewed have been like, I had no idea until we finally got out of there and turned on the news, or someone sent me a message and, I let them know that I was okay, but they were telling me what was happening outside. And, all of this is happening. They're realizing that something really fucking scary is going on out there. And to top it all off, you've got half the people who are sheltering in place refusing to wear masks because they're fucking Republican idiots. Mm-hmm. And now here we are a week later, and there's at least 3 Congress people who have come down with COVID since then. And
I was saying that. I was like, oh, let's see what the numbers are going to be in the next 10 to 14 days. Wow.
Well, and it's really unfortunate because, so one of Washington's people, Premier Jayapal, tested positive for COVID. She's been a huge masker person. Like, wear your mask. Everybody should be, really championing it the whole time. So when people like that are doing everything that they can, and you are choosing not to, especially these people who spent 6 hours locked in a room and still didn't give a shit that they might be hurting their coworkers. There are people who are calling for every single one of them that refuse to wear a mask to be censured. And I 100% feel the same way about that, because some of our, this whole thing makes me crazy because I'm kind of anti-government and very anti-cop, but
yeah.
I do know that there are, as much as I hate politicians in general, I do know that there are politicians who believe that they are doing the right thing and aren't just trying to make a buck or make a name for themselves or something. Jayapal's one of those people. I fully believe that she is fighting for the actual people who need to be fought for, instead of, the people with the money who are fighting to get more money. There are, what's her name? There was an older congresswoman, I think she was 75, just recovered from cancer. She tested positive for COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, it's you're potentially killing these people because you think it's funny that they want to wear a mask.
Did you hear?
So many.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Did you hear about the lady who was gone? They were interviewing her while everything was going on. And she was like, I got out of there. I was in the tunnels. And she was at home. Was her name Betty? Oh my gosh. She is. You said what?
She's from California.
Oh my gosh. I'll have to look it up again. But her interview was exactly what you would expect out of any of the Black, members on. They just were like, look, I wasn't there. I knew some shit was going on. I wasn't about to be involved. I've seen this in a movie. And I was gone.
See, that's
just
smart.
Yeah.
I went there thinking it was going to be all fun and games, and then I realized that they were fucking serious, and it scared the shit out of me, so I got out of there. Good.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that's the scariest to me is, of course, seeing them just the amount of people that, that rushed upon their building. But to see all the, the members on the floor, to see the terror on their faces, and I could just imagine the thoughts that were going through their head. Honestly, they were probably thinking, God damn it, he did it. God damn it, who did we piss off? But they completely thought it was something probably opposite of, terrorism, from domestic terrorism.
Oh, no. I think that every single one of them knew that these were Trump people, which makes them domestic terrorists.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying, I think that most of them probably thought it wasn't domestic terrorism like that. They thought that maybe, Trump pissed somebody else off. It was something bigger. If I was in there, I probably would have thought, the zombies came.
Yeah, if I was in there, I would have been like, what the fuck did Trump do? Because seriously, at this point, you just got to expect it. You live in a
situation
capital.
was a surprise.
You live in the capital of California, and I worry about things like that more right now than I worry about Congress. The people out there that that coordinated this are still out there. They've
They've
figured out a lot of who was there based, again, on their cell phone data, on pictures that people took, people getting ratted out by their family because they were idiots and got their picture taken, and again, weren't wearing a mask because they weren't Antifa, because we wear masks.
Yes, because they're smart enough.
Because we understand science and how it works.
Yes, right, because that's a real thing, or science is a real thing. That part, but then also you have the rest of America who does not agree with you, or those of us that don't agree. So then you have social media, and like you said, you idiots are taking pictures and doing this and doing that. Social media was on it. I have to say, shout out to everybody in Twitterville,
Instagram,
Instagram,
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, because the smart guy that wore his work badge, like,
Yep.
you are, God damn, you are an idiot. Like, you were an idiot.
And
he
even
was
the
found
ones
out by social media. He was found out by people doing their work and zooming in on the work badge, and that's how they, determined who he was.
But actually, that brings up something that Dean actually said when I think we were watching the news last night. So there was one guy who was photographed in head to toe fatigues, covered his face, he was wearing gloves, he had zip ties. Yeah, the zip tie guy.
Yeah.
So you could see that he thought and like made sure that his identity was covered. And the FBI was like, "Oh, we see the logo on your hat, and we see the sticker on your bulletproof vest, and we see this, and we can coordinate them and figure out where you live." Like, it was fucking scary as shit. And Dean's just like, "See, that's why I would just, I wouldn't cover my face if I did something, because there's no fucking point. They're gonna figure it out."
You think about it, you watch like a TV show, and in the TV show they go, "Oh, the shoes were bought here on Monday."
You think it's bullshit.
Like, how the fuck did you know? And then they put it all the way back to the person that bought the shoes. So say that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's fucking scary, and I've never felt more like I live in a police state, but for once, that police state is against the people who are against me. So it makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I feel like it's like that same kind of discipline. When you guys were little, I mean,
it's the ones that were caught.
Women, so
yeah, it was like, I think, who was I don't remember who I was in this conversation with. They were like, it's like the kids that it's the kids who punched back, or the ones that are caught on pictures doing all this are the ones that had finally snapped and did it. It's not the people that did all the planning and all the
True. I feel like, though, this reminds me of when you had that teacher or that auntie who was like, "Tira, you better stop it right now or I'm going to spank you. I'm going to count to 5 and you better stop it. I'm going to count to 6 and you better stop it." Because here's my thing, right?
I didn't have that.
We're identifying these people.
I think I got.
Like, we're black women.
Right. I think I got to 2 once.
We didn't get any fucking counting. It was
At
all. Karate dogs.
Nope. Got the picture switch, but that's it.
Yeah, exactly. You just saw it coming. But these people, what do you mean they're going to the airport and they're being told they're on the no-fly list? Why aren't they arrested on site?
Absolutely.
That's the shit that's tripping me out.
Why are the cops helping people down the stairs so they don't fall?
Following it out the building
are they,
as if they're leaving Disneyland?
Why are they rinsing fucking pepper spray out of people's eyes? What the fuck is that about?
Why are they moving the gate so they can run in?
Yeah. Why are they moving the gate?
Those particular ones were identified and fired. I don't know if anything else is happening, but those ones at least.
Because you can't tell me, it's because we felt like we were being taken over. We were outnumbered. Okay, you've been trained for shit like this. Tough.
And you back up. You don't move the gates for them. Yes. If you're afraid of getting run over, you're not going to move something out of their way to make it easier for them to get to you.
Yeah, like I just said, several times they were acting like they worked at a concert or a Disneyland, and they were, like they were opening the gates to Coachella. That's what that shit looked like. Like they were like, "It's open," and then when they were leaving, there's people walking out going, "Bye, see you later, we did it." And I'm like, if that had been a group of brown and black people, they would be tackled as they walked out of that door.
They wouldn't even have made it up there.
No, exactly.
So many people knew that this was going to happen, that it's complete bullshit, and that anybody in charge over there thought that this wasn't. And the fact that the National Guard was not called ahead of time, like for every Black Lives Matter rally ever, that's one. Two, Trump refused to allow National Guard to come in. Like they had to get, like the Secretary of Defense had to personally intervene because the president wasn't doing it or something. I don't even remember at this point.
Because he was sitting back eating popcorn watching the shit.
Had to intervene with Pence.
There's
Had to
intervene. Where he was like, "You have authorization." He was like, "No, I don't have authorization." No, you
Right.
have authorization. Like, I'm telling you, we do not have authorization to come in right now. We're waiting. And it was like, okay, well, hold on, let me go check on that real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And hours. Like there's proof that this was delayed by hours. If this had even had a hint of being anything but Trump supporters, it would have been, they wouldn't have gotten anywhere close. If they had tried to breach the Capitol, there would have been 100 dead people on those steps.
Oh, for sure. And before that, like at the rally.
Right, before that.
At the rally when they were listening. So this is my question. I don't think Trump is smart enough to have planned this. So who do you
he
guys
didn't plan
think?
it.
I'm saying, like, do you think somebody that, from the groups, the supporters, contacted him like, say this and this is what's going to happen?
No. He's very good at knowing exactly what's going to fuck with his audience. He knows what's going to rile them up. So I think he knew that it was happening, but I don't think he had any planning on it. I think he literally was like, here's my people.
Yeah, I wonder if you knew that people were coming with zip ties, if people were coming and saying that they were going to get Mike Pence and everybody else. Like, their true purpose
He claims he didn't know that people were out to get Mike Pence, but yet didn't talk to him for a week afterwards to make sure that he's okay.
And told him he better do the right thing prior to it. So
Right, exactly. That's I fully believe that Trump had all awareness of this and was probably sitting back and watching the news and like clapping with glee.
Corona.
And I think he was more in on the planning
the
than we want to give him credit for. Trump is not book smart. Trump is not a fucking idiot. He is a malignant narcissist. He knows people. He does have some kind of, believe it or not, emotional intelligence, as many narcissists do. He knows what he's doing. He probably met up with his little crew, just like a mob boss does, which is what he is and what he has done for years. He let the smart people in the room work out the semantics, and they executed a terrorist attack on the United States of America, which kind of takes me to my next topic, y'all. What's your favorite name for these terrorists? Mine personally is Vanilla Isis.
I love that.
Oh,
I heard that one back when it was the Bundy.
Can I jump in here?
Takeover. Oh,
of course.
Coup, C-O-U-P, Klux Klan.
Yes. that credit goes to India for that, because that was the headline news in India.
I like that one.
The next day.
The Vanilla Isis, I heard that on Jimmy Kimmel. I thought that was just perfect. I like that one. Like anyone, or
I like Al-Qaeda.
Yes,
Al-Qaeda.
I'll chime in with some controversial shit. Well, I'll do two things. One, fun fact, you guys may not know, I was nominated into the Democratic Party back in Rochester to head up their education department, but they couldn't fucking stand me, so they kept just pretending that the vote never happened, which I understand because I was very much like a Bernie Sanders supporter. This was back in 2016, right after Trump got elected, and I was saying, like, you need to rebrand this shit. They didn't want to hear it. They were like, but like we had a conversation in one of those meetings one day where they were talking about the difference between Democrats and Republicans, which is that Republicans are raised to be Republicans. And they were saying, like, if you're a Democrat, you're a father, you're a doctor, you play tennis on the weekends, you're a tennis player, that's who you are, and then you're a Democrat. If you are a Republican, you are raised that you are a Republican. Then you're a dad, then you're a doctor, then you're whatever else you are. But you are a Republican first. So, when I heard that, I was like, very true. So are they a cult? And there was a quote from The Vow. If you guys haven't watched that show, please watch it. All about NXIVM, which is also an upstate New York cult. Where the main guy,
a couple of them.
Go ahead.
There are a couple of NXIVM ones that just came out over the last couple months, and I've watched all of them. Which is actually why, because Catherine Oxenberg's daughter, like, she's fucking brilliant, but she got sucked up and was like right up there with what's her bucket, who was the actress. Anyway, sorry.
Mac.
Yes, Allison Mack.
Whatever. Someone Mac. Yes. But he made the quote like, people don't join a cult, they join the cause. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Very true. But man, y'all know. I think, let me not even go down this path. Listen, I think at their core, every person does know right from wrong. I really do believe that. And I think for people who want to argue, no, they were raised this way. You just said it yourself. There's some kind of cognitive dissonance going on. I think we all have our own biases and our own bullshit. And like, let's say I get on this mic and I start talking about something that's totally inappropriate. And then one of you calls me out. A feeling kind of comes over you. And even if you do not have the intelligence, or if you do have the intelligence to understand that feeling, what it is that you are recognizing that there is a disconnect between what is going on with you mentally and what are the facts. And that actually comes up in this episode. And I think we even picked a clip to cover it. So this might be a good time to transition on into this episode.
Jasmine, he's a crook.
You just want everyone to be miserable because you're miserable. And why are you wearing that stupid coat? Wish you'd go away.
Oh, man. I watched that scene over and over again. I was like, Huey is genuinely hurt by her right there. Like, that's the first time that Huey's like you can almost see, oh, is he gonna cry? Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Dean's making a face.
Totally. And what I mean about that, it ties right into what I was just saying, because, and even like you were saying, kind of in the scene that happens before, Onceler is like calling Huey out for his bullshit, like, because Huey approaches them with truth and fact, and he's like, oh, you're a fool, you're an idiot, like, what are you talking about? Yes, that, and he's being so sweet to Jasmine, who's buying his lies and his stuff. But when Huey confronts him with the truth, he attacks him. And Huey's kind of like, whoa. So I think for Jasmine to flip on him when he approaches his friend with the truth, and then here she is coming at him, just as Onceler did. Why are you wearing that stupid coat? This is what I mean when I say that feeling comes over you when someone comes at you with the truth. It's almost like if you guys are RuPaul's Drag Race fans, there's a scene, very famous scene, where one of the drag queens says, I feel so attacked. That is what people do when you call them out on this bullshit. And that is what you kind of see Jasmine doing here in the scene. That is what you will see your Republican friends and family do if you question them about this stuff. Like, no excuses for me, no empathy. Yeah, go ahead.
There was, I don't remember what news station it was, but there was a woman who was being interviewed by the news that she was going by, and she was just sobbing, and she was like, they're not supposed to shoot at us. They only are supposed to shoot at Black Lives Matter people. Like, like she...
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the cognitive dissonance, like you were saying, like... That woman genuinely thought, well, I'm white, so therefore this isn't a bad thing. And that's, it's like you said, though, she was raised that way and was always in that echo chamber probably, and was never confronted on it, never had to even think about it before that moment of, wait, I don't have the privilege of not getting shot by cops because, I'm white. So, yeah, like just to tie it, like literally it was something that was on the news the other day.
Yes, Queen.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I just lost my train of thought, that's all.
Sorry, I was pointing out that, and now they're calling for unity, that's the second clip for me.
That's actually a really good point, because that really kind of started yesterday, and then today with Mike Pence saying, oh, I'm not gonna, not gonna Article 14 or whatever it is, 25, Article 25th Amendment. There it is. Like, there's so many numbers that they're throwing at me. When he wrote that letter, there are so many people who are like, well, now see that even Mike Pence sees that we should just move on, and like, bitch, come on. How do you call for unity with millions of people who want to install a dictator, and but think that they're on the side of freedom, think that they are somehow patriots because they want to install this dictator?
It's that same shit I always say about the two Americas.
Mm.
Because they really do believe from inception that this is their birthright. And listen, as a Black woman, it's a lot for me to say it. I see where y'all are coming from. I see it because the country was built on like an oligarchy kind of system where the white men could vote and people who own land could vote only, and you had to be college educated to serve the Senate or whatever it was. Like, I get it. I see it. All right. But I don't know. It's 2021. Like, y'all, you should be educated enough to drop your fucking privilege and your fucking bullshit. And I get you want to fight for it, but at least say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah. Don't hide it behind words of patriotism when what you really mean is, I'm loyal to this one guy who's telling me what to do, and everything else doesn't matter because what he's telling me is true and I'm going to believe it.
And even if he thinks I'm a piece of shit.
Right. Which he absolutely does.
Better than the darkies. Ugh. So.
And that, that all, the only reason why attitudes like that exist is with the idea that somehow, despite the fact that literally the only difference between, say, me and Dean is the shade of our skin, that somehow that makes me less of a person. And they're not just taught that, but they are like drilled it for their entire lives. They see it in, movies where the white actors and actresses make more money and get more, more fame, and the Black movies are only seen as Black movies, and, like the stereotypes that they see, like their ideas are reinforced every day instead of broken down. And then when people call to break down those stereotypes, they're snowflakes for being offended. And, they've just learned that their life matters more. So therefore, you should understand that.
It is like a dog. I always talk about on my Twitter, dog whistle racism.
Yes.
At my old job, I always talked about dog whistle racism. And I feel like people just think I'm a lunatic. This episode, if you don't understand it, watch the way in which Unsler talks to Huey and in which he talks to Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
This is very much what that is. And people be judging me. Listen, y'all, I very much love YouTube psychics. But this one YouTube psychic was talking to me about it. And she was saying, like, yo, you realize, like, the reason you've always had issues at work is because you don't buy into racism. And she was saying it is a system. And by you being so outspoken, by you standing up and asking for justice, you are challenging the system of racism. So what you see going on there, even though it's not even called out in the episode, it's just there. That's the fucking shit I'm talking about. To me, that was one of the most powerful things in this fucking episode. I don't think we picked a clip for it. But if we did, watch the fucking episode.
Yeah, seriously. Like, there are so many things about this episode that are just so, God, fucking, like, we always say that Magruder was, like, psychic when he created these things, and that somehow he was not just calling out the culture of that day, but, like, somehow seeing into the future and knowing that we would still be dealing with this shit years later. And is like, and it's able to be very ambiguous on timing. Like, we don't know when about this was set. We just know when about Granddad was born, and so we can kind of extrapolate from that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it couldn't happen today or even in our future, because this is the same shit that's just been happening over and over again. And those calls for unity are, the people that live in that town, oh, that man got shot, but he's okay. It doesn't matter. He was a Black gay. Oh, Dean has one he wants to play.
Woodcrest isn't a place where people dwell in the past and focus on the negative, like who shot at who 118 times or who cracked whose rib cage. That's all media hype. In my day, we resolved our differences the old-fashioned way, over a cool glass of lemonade.
I love how bullshit that is. Like, he is literally, like, he's talking to the camera and basically giving a commercial, but at the same time saying, we don't have to fight about the white man and the black man and you know, it sounds like just about every Democratic politician and some Republican politicians that we have right now, we don't need to talk about who shot who 118 times in the back in the dark while he was entering his own house, like
or sleeping.
Or sleeping.
Sleeping in her bed.
Yeah.
But 100%. I can't stand that shit, y'all. That's why I always be on Twitter popping off. I don't care. I really don't care who fucking can't stand me anymore. Unfollow me. I hate that bullshit. And this is more people, I mean, of all races, honestly, at least the people I engage with, who want to play this like you guys were saying earlier about mending fences. You want to mend a fence, have the fucking conversation. Please don't do this. Oh my God, y'all, it's just so silly. It's just so crazy. Let's just all have a cool glass of lemonade and go back to being a democracy.
Right.
You guys are full of shit. Fuck your kids, fuck your couch, all that shit. Like, no, this is not realistic. You're riding ponies and selling dreams. Like, this is just not, it's dismissive, it's wrong. Oh my God.
And it's the same people who will be like, hashtag BLM, hashtag no justice, no peace, hashtag caramel macchiato.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like it's back to that performative allyship. You know, it's a lot of the people that will be like, oh, you know, I'm on your side. I'm on your team. Now let's calm down and let's, you know, go back. You know, now that Biden's going to be president, everything's going to go back to normal. And yeah, normal bitch was not okay for a lot of fucking people. Okay, so the other clip that I picked, I picked this one because, so we talked a little bit ago about the black cop in the Capitol building and, you know, how heroic he was and how fucking scared he must have been with all of these white supremacists chasing after him, like knowing they probably wanted him dead, but also knowing that he was probably the only thing between them and the government, essentially. Like, I feel like on one, so in this, Ruckus was shot at and had his ribs broken and still decided to forego the 7-figure settlement that they were going to give him just so he could be
fucking Christ.
Right, just so he could be a cop. Which something I said when the story about that security guard Eugene. Oh boy, someone's
shit. Goodman. Good. Oh fuck.
You said it earlier.
Sorry, Eugene.
We'll fix that one. We'll fix that
Goodman.
in post. Maybe?
Eugene Goodman.
Goodman. Awesome. So when all of that was coming out and Dean and I were sitting watching it, I was literally going, fuck, I still feel like all cops are bad. But that guy is like, you know, I felt the heroism and like was scared as shit for him and hoping he wasn't one of the ones that had gotten killed. Because at that point, we knew that one officer had gotten killed and there was like a rumor that a second one had died later, which ended up being a suicide. And it wasn't that officer. So that was at least that. But Ruckus, that's what he sees himself as. He sees himself as this heroic cop, but in reality, he just wants to hold up white supremacy. And it really, really, really echoes in his speech.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Officer Uncle Ruckus.
Thank you. You know, people been asking me if I'm upset about what happened yesterday. I say no. Ruckus is not upset because the swift and measured response of these officers is a fine example of my tax dollars hard at work. And I just want you all to know that I hope to live up to the fine example of those men. And I hope to harass and beat each and every black person I see with extreme prejudice.
That's a totally great idea. That's great, yeah.
Thank you very much, thank you. I'm glad you feel me on that sentiment. Now, let's enjoy some delicious lemonade from this little mixed breed girl. That's an order from Officer Ruckus. Oh, my reel.
So there's two things about that really kind of stuck out to me. And the first part of his speech sounded like every single newscaster over the last week talking about the DC police or the Capitol Police who actually were like trying to do their job, like how commendable and how brave they are and you know, how wonderful they are. And then, you know, Ruckus said the quiet part out loud, which is what, you know, a lot of people have suddenly discovered that the right has been doing for a long time, thanks to platforms like Facebook and Twitter that didn't regulate it. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, we're going to, and they're shutting it down. And there's like this huge outcry because they've been so used to getting their way. And again, they liked being able to say the quiet part out loud and get away with it. And now they're freaking out because they're, you know, somebody hacked Parler and has like has all of the information because apparently it was a total honeypot and they were asking for like social security numbers and shit. Like,
girl,
I don't even know.
It's where I take it to a conspiracy theorist space, y'all. I think it was on episode 1 or 2 of this podcast that we started talking about the fact that, like, listen, yes, race is a construct. Yes, it has very real consequences, though. We're not idiots. We're not denying that on this podcast. But what y'all seem to be missing is that as shit gets tighter and tighter and resources get shorter and shorter, your race is going to become less and less important, and you're all just going to be kept in line. These people are being kept in line. Trump is too dumb. I'm not saying he's like that he is ignorant, right? Like, I'm not going to do like the IQ thing, but he's not in line with the new world order, quote unquote. If you even want to call it that. I know that has a lot of things tied to it.
Well, for him, it's all about power.
Right. And it's all about him.
Yeah.
These people are like, nah, dude, like, listen, there's a group of us who have the wealth and want to maintain the wealth and want to maintain the way things are done. This is a very calculated plan, sir. You don't fit in here. And these people are being put in their place. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm an asshole. I don't care who judges me for it. Yes, I say I'm into spirituality and I'm a spiritualist. I don't care. Y'all can fucking judge me, call me fake or whatever. I'm enjoying watching these people being, quote unquote, put in their place as much as they've enjoyed us being put in our place, you know, as Uncle Ruckus fantasizes about. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
I agree with you there. I clapped when they started identifying them. You know, I definitely went off and shared and tweeted anything that I saw that was identifying any of these individuals, any of their charges that have been listed, sharing it, loving it. And, you know, hey, call me an asshole for this. I hope their kids are getting it from other kids at school, talking about, I saw what your dad did and your dad's an idiot. Like, that is where, that's the level that I'm at. And
I think a couple people got turned in by their kids who were like, my mom did a thing that was really fucking stupid. Please arrest her.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that probably shook me the most was watching that woman get shot and like seeing that. And then the other side of me was like, well, and I felt bad that her husband had to identify her. Like, her husband was the one who saw it. But the other side of me was like, well, why'd you let her go? She wasn't going just to hang out with friends, like they first tried to say. She was going for that purpose and to go there. You know, that, and so kind of on the same realm. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not celebrating her loss, but I am like, there is a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made that decision to go there and then to climb up in a window. Why would you break a window in the Capitol and then try to climb up in it? Like,
well, and there were literally guns drawn and pointed at her for a while before she got shot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the whole thing. Like, okay. I have weird, obscure, like, TV shows and stuff that I watch. Any chance you guys know what Horrible Histories are?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, so no. It's a series of books first that basically is telling you the real story behind all these historical things. But in the UK, they did a TV series for kids based on the books. And there's this one part that was a recurring part of that show that was, it was called Stupid Deaths. And these famous people would walk up to, Death, and basically Death would be like, how did you die? And then they would say something stupid, and he would just go, okay. And just laugh at them. And like, it was hilarious. And now all I can think of when it comes to these people, like, I don't like to laugh at the death of people, but there was a guy who tased himself in the balls and had a heart attack.
Oh my God.
Like,
I didn't believe
Yes. And when I heard that,
That's
and I'm sure the reason why he actually died is because they couldn't get an ambulance to him or whatever. And I get that. Same thing. There was a woman who was trampled. There was, there were five deaths on the day of. And all of them were just kind of ridiculous. That woman who was shot by the Secret Service guys, that was the only one that was like, okay, that was very much should have happened.
Yeah.
If not a lot more, because that was fucking scary.
Oh, did you guys see the woman who was outside crying and she's like, they maced me.
Yeah.
And we were only trying to
Elizabeth.
come to find out that she has an onion. That she had an onion wrapped up in a towel.
I heard that was just a... See, I don't know. I've heard conflicting on the onion
the clips
part.
that I've seen or the pictures that I've seen, it like shows from a different angle. Like
it looks like something. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see like the onion. Look, I wouldn't put it past. I don't care if she got maced and or if she like boo fucking who. Okay,
Right?
like white privilege. This is perfect example. And for people to get upset when you say white privilege, there's something to it. And there's something to it, not because they know that it exists, but that you feel like it's a right of yours. Like, it's not just a privilege, it's a right. And all of them, and they're, running in and damaging the Capitol, that just shows and proof right there that is something that is a part of you having this white privilege. The fact that you guys have convinced yourselves that this was something that you should do. I mean, you guys are a stain upon our history. That shit hasn't happened since 1812, when the Capitol was attacked, and it wasn't domestic.
Right. And how shocked they are that they're getting that they're being held accountable for things that they did.
Yeah.
The people crying at airports because they're not allowed on planes. Like, oh my God, how am I going to get home? Maybe you should have thought of that before you decided to commit treason against the United States.
Yeah. I mean, it pisses me off because they want to go, well, we didn't burn anything down. Okay. You guys want to talk about the looting and shit? That was not BLM. That was not, you know what I'm saying? So don't come to me about that. And they did a fucking Bevmo. They went and got bottles and bottles and bottles of Patron. You guys went to our capital of our country and you did some shit. Like, how in your mind are you going, we're good.
Let's hold off on that for a second, because it's really interesting that you use that exact, because that's kind of our white people question for the evening tonight. Dean, would you like to ask it so we can continue talking about this?
Sure. Yeah, because that's something that I saw come up quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I did too.
How is what happened at the Capitol any different than what happened during all the BLM protests that went ridiculous. On?
Right.
Exactly.
Like, what do you?
I mean, the false equivalency of it all.
Yeah.
Is
first of
ridiculous.
all, you had an attempted coup to take over a government, and on the other hand, you had people that were demanding not to get shot by cops.
Yes, not to get killed, just to be able to be them every day.
Yeah.
Just to be able to be born and be in existence, which they didn't ask for.
Right.
But they're, like how, oh my God.
No beanbags out of any of these people, like the people at the Black Lives marches, not even when they were riding the looters, just when they were marching and people had beanbags shot at them and black eyes and eyes broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
how many kids out here did you end up seeing that you knew that either used to go to the school you teach at or go there now that have like serious damage from those rubber bullets and from those beanbags? Like serious. One girl was hit in the, I think her jaw was broken. Another one, like her eye socket was, was fractured.
Yep.
I know a reporter who lost their eye.
Yeah.
Or journalist. Shouldn't say reporter, journalist, because they do not work for like Como or King or any of those that tried to call all of the Black Lives Matter things in Seattle riots, even though literally the only things that burned were dumpsters and like some wood outside of the police station.
And I don't remember them burning anything down. At least I don't think of anything here in California that they didn't burn a business down. I know that they fucked up a Target. You know,
there was also I mean the embedded white supremacists or Proud Boys or Boogaloo Boys.
Mm-hmm. All of those were there.
That were there who were
actual Nazis.
Yeah, doing that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was happening. I mean, I think my favorite quote about what happened with like the girl, like whether it's Elizabeth or the girl that got shot or the guy that tased himself is. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly. So, fuck around, find out.
fuck around, find out.
Yeah.
I mean, that only 5 people died is amazing.
Shows you how
incredible.
white it was. Shows you how white it was.
I mean, because you saw what happened when they shot her. How they moved back really fucking quick.
Oh shit! They're actually going to shoot.
Yeah, they were move down. She got shot, and people are like moving down and moving. What's amazing to me is the things like. Hubby was telling me this. I haven't seen a clip of it, but people brought like ropes and like threw them up to the second. Like they were so coordinated. Now you guys want to talk about the people that were in LA and on Rodeo Drive and in Santa Monica that were in there getting shoes and shit from vans and whatever. You guys want to talk about how that was so coordinated? Hello, let's talk about something that's coordinated and something that was coordinated with a malicious outcome. As the result, as their attempted result.
There was one guy who drove up with a truck full of lumber and erected a gallows in front of the Washington Monument. The hope was that they were going to pull those legislators out and hang them publicly.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyone who like tries to claim this was about patriotism and shit, how come there were so many American flags that were getting torn off the walls and Trump flags were getting put in their place?
That is one of the first things that he recognized. He goes, "Wait, isn't that right? Like, why is that okay?" Right. Well, we know why, because it was a patriotism. I mean, that one girl that was like, "It's a revolution." I wanted to sock her in her throat, like. Some of these people really just need their asses kicked, like a good old in the street, nobody else get involved. Me and you, I'm about to whoop your ass. That's what they need. They need a good old back in the day ass kicking. Yeah.
Like granddad needs to come and sort them out.
My biggest, strongest comparison point here is about location.
Yeah.
I was really kind of just on a lot of emotional shit during that weekend after the death of George Floyd when the Black Lives Matter protests this summer really popped off. So I was up till 1 a.m., 3 a.m. watching the protests take place, not even outside of the White House. They would not let the Black Lives Matter protesters even get that
anywhere close.
Eventually, they even pushed them out of the park. And it was line to line to line of police officers in full-on SWAT gear with their shields up, people stalking the streets with the rubber bullets, shooting people who were just standing on their porches talking. Yep. The response was entirely different. And what is amazing to me, if you do want to go there, if you do want to ask how it's any different, that to me is what is the most amazing point. You were hunting down people in the streets and in their homes. People who weren't even black, people of color, white people, whoever, just standing on their porches were getting shot with rubber bullets. You were sending out a very clear message. Your bullshit is not welcome here and it is not going to be tolerated. This is not your capital. I feel like in this protest, the government or whoever, and I will say the FBI or the CIA or whoever, y'all can't tell me you did not know what was about to pop off.
Holy shit, right? I knew it was going to fucking happen.
They had a report that they had got the day before, it wasn't the DC branch of the FBI, but a different branch got the report, and they sent it to them, and it just completely contradicts what the Capitol Police and the FBI says that they know about the day before.
Same.
I mean, if you were on Twitter at all in the weeks leading up to that, you knew that this was going to happen, especially if you, like me, follow any activists who've been like being journalists over the last 9 months. Because a lot of them were basically making Parler accounts and going and screenshotting shit and saying, this is fucking scary. Why is nobody talking about this? This is really fucking scary. Look, they are calling for literal war. They are calling for literal lynching of our government. And so I don't even follow that many political ones. I follow mostly small ones that are in Seattle because I wanted to know what was going on with the Seattle movement and in Portland. Well, basically West Coast. But still, like, I'm a nobody, and I knew that something scary was about to happen. You know, how are you the fucking FBI? How are you the people who supposedly are, you know, in charge of making sure that terrorist acts don't happen? How are you going to let this shit happen and just pretend you didn't know? Like, the FBI, I think, classified white supremacy as like up at the, what was it called? The Jesus fucking Christ, that white supremacists were. Yeah, basically that they were the number one to be watched, the scariest thing, even higher up than Al Qaeda or anything like that when it came to anything happening in the U.S.
Largest causers of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. They're terrified deep down, which is where all of their actions come from. And what they really should be terrified of, and we are one of the, 1,000 or 15 million that we were watching with Black people now that have bought guns in the past year, and 15,000. Yeah,
we did.
I was joined NAGA.
Oh yeah, joined. Yeah, okay. So joined the like Black NRA. You know, the equivalent of that. It's called NAGA. But yes, we have become, you know, well, like I said before, I bought hubby his first firearm for Father's Day. He went and purchased another one for himself for a Christmas, New Year gift. And then I got one. Then he went and got me one. So I held the friends and I was like, this is it. I'm in love. Yes, I want it. So he went and bought me one. And then when we went the other day, just for me to take my test, somebody buys a shotgun. So, and he should have got the rifle that he wanted. But,
still can.
You know, I don't blame at all. The next 8 days, I'm so not. Yeah, I know something's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's interesting that, you know, we're doing our research. We don't just do things just because. So we're doing our research into why it's good for us to have them, other than, you know, using them responsibly and, you know, getting trained and everything else, getting our license, our CCWs and all that. But It's very interesting that we are, as a group, you know, African Americans are like against guns, and we want, like assault rifles and assault weapons and stuff. Like, we'd be okay if they aren't, you know, legal and something that we can get. But it really goes down to our rights and our amendments. And so looking into it and doing my own research, everything that's going on now, we should definitely be concerned and very aware of, you know, the firearm legislation and everything, and just the issue itself coming up. We have a right to protect ourselves, and we need to even more so right now. And I just think that I know solely for me and a lot of other people that I'm, you know, my family, you know, just other people of color that kind of grew up the same way that I did. They all kind of have the same idea about firearms, and we just need to. So,
do you know why that is, right?
Well, I mean, I'd like to have done all my research and. Yeah, I could say.
I'm just saying it's because of the Black Panthers and the gun regulations that people were calling for after the Black Panthers started arming the black. Started arming the black population. So Black people in our generation learning that guns are bad are being taught that by people who were scared of the Black Panthers who had guns. So it's not that like Black people are against it. It's that the system has tried to ingrain that in our brains. Like
which overall makes most of the Black people against it. Like they don't feel comfortable with guns.
Right, exactly. And I'm one of those people up until all of this shit started going down. And I was like, I want you to go get a gun. I want to learn how to shoot a gun. It's ridiculous to not have one at this point because my safety might be on the line. Your safety might be on the line. If you are out there and you are a person of color, you probably want to know how to shoot at this point, just in case something shitty goes down.
Most definitely. So, I mean, I was joking and saying I wanted it for the zombie apocalypse. You know, I was always joking saying that's what I needed it for. Now I need it because I want to be able to protect my children. I want to be able to protect my home front. If I live in Sacramento, it's the capital. I don't know what the fuck's going to pop off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
stay home on the 20th, please.
Oh, please. You don't have to tell me that. I stay home. That's probably why I sleep most of the day. But yeah, so it's definitely something that's concerning. My oldest is 12. My youngest is 9. You know, we're going to start to get them comfortable with it. So it's just funny how my mindset has changed within 6 months' time, but it's changed because of what we're living in. And I think last week was a prime example of why we do need to be more vigilant and more active in how we're protected.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a woman who ended up being on the cover of a newspaper being picked up by a big white man. And everyone at first was like scared that, you know, he was hurting her, but he was actually saving her life because there was a impromptu demonstration in LA of these white supremacists, you know, anti-mask, whatever, like spitting and yelling and trying to hurt her and following her home and like just harassing her. And like this man literally like got her out of there and told her that he was going to save her and keep her safe. Like this is real fucking life for everybody right now. And if you are out there listening and you do not believe that you could be potentially in danger, realize that the person next to you probably will be, especially if they're brown.
Yeah.
So like right now is not the time anymore to be afraid of that shit. Right now is the time to realize that we need to take care of ourselves. In my opinion.
Can I take it to a miserable place though? So I mean, I hope you all have your cool glass of lemonade. Listen, I'm about the truth, and I feel like that is what has served me the most in life is just facing the truth. I feel like everything that happened on Capitol Hill, everything going down now, I feel like America is or has been pushed to really address even this white people question we're answering about the difference between the Black Lives Matter protests and what happened on Capitol Hill. I feel like we have come to the screaming pitch or whatever that as a Black person, I don't care what your race is or your ethnicity, you can no longer deny that you are considered, not that you're less than, but you are considered less than in this country. Mm-hmm. You are disposable. I feel like this is all just staring us all in the face. Like, I haven't seen any of the sentences for these protesters.
Oh, the trials won't happen for a while.
And do you think they're going to go away for life or get the death penalty? Because I don't. No. I think they'll get 5 years and they'll be back on the street.
Yeah, they're talking about a year for most of it.
Yeah, no.
And
there you go.
And that's bullshit.
I think the only thing that in my mind would actually be even like approaching justice in this would be that if every senator and representative that aided in it in some way or egged it on in some way, if they are just expelled from Congress and the Senate and emergency votes are set up in whatever states that those are in, it doesn't matter who they are, if they supported this in any way, especially if they gave directions to protesters who were looking for specific people, the people who are literally in power who helped aid this, and I don't even like Trump, that man is going to end up in jail on tax evasion charges probably in New York. It'll be something like
him
tax
in jail
evasion
for
because
something. Like something.
Yeah, well, it'll be like Al Capone. It'll be like tax evasion, something that like that they could just prove with paperwork and it wasn't about something he said or something that he did. It'll be like, here's all the papers to show that he cheated everybody out of $1 billion.
But he'll probably flee the country and live comfortably.
Well, I don't know about that, because he tried to say that he was going to go to his Scotland properties, and they basically were like, you can't come here. We're canceling anybody coming in until the end of January. Like they literally were like, nope.
Which is fabulous. But I just feel like even if you look at how like the officers let people into the Capitol, like he has so much support on the ground. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but odds are he'll weasel his way out of it. Meanwhile, remember when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on and they were outside of the White House before they pushed them out of the park? Mm-hmm. They said, he came out saying like, oh, we had so many nasty weapons for you. We were waiting for you. We had so many nasty weapons. Like,
he wants
dogs and all kinds of shit.
He wants, if you aren't there to lick his boots, he wants you dead. And he won't actively lift a finger to do anything about it, but he's going to do everything he can to make sure that, that it happens without his touch on it. Like that, I feel like that's really where his businessman persona really thrives. He's got plenty of people underneath him that he can get to take the blame or somehow get the blame on. That's why he's pardoning basically every fucking person he knows right now. It's because that's how he's operated. He's always had somebody to be his fall guy, and then now he's maybe run out of those people is my hope.
I'm hoping too. I'm hoping that he's running out of people that can help him implement things, not just these these other people that are implementing things that aren't close to him, that are just supporters. I want these people that are in government that have like some
Ted
type
Cruz.
Of power. Yes,
Ted Cruz,
they're jumping ship left and right, but I want them to do it like for real. Like I want that relationship to be done. I want him, he can't tweet about it, so he can't cry about it, but I want him to, through other people, that's what he's been doing, is he's been releasing statements. Yes. So I want him to complain about it to other people that they're not friends anymore. Like I really want them to just be done. Who is the guy? Is this the guy that you're talking about? That's the picture of the gentleman walking like into the Capitol with his hand, like his raised, fist up. He has on a suit. He has on a red tie. Is that who you guys are talking about?
That's Hawley.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's an
Hawley.
Asshole. He's somebody that needs to get his ass kicked.
He's the one who went to like Harvard and Yale and like thinks that, and he like clerked for a Supreme Court justice who literally was like, that's the only thing in my entire life that I regret now. Like literally. What was it? Oh, not a justice? Well, he clerked for some judge. So Dean's gonna look it up. I personally, every okay. Personally, I feel like, so what was it's the is it the 14th, the one that you cannot run for office again when because of the insurrection? Like, what was that? Well, there's something that they're talking about now that Nancy Pelosi is trying to basically, the whole reason why this second impeachment is specifically has the specific language around insurrection is there's something in the Constitution that says that, you cannot hold office once you've been convicted of an insurrection. Mm-hmm. So I think that she's testing the waters with Trump and then hoping that she'll be able to, get that against Cruz and Hawley and anybody else who is found to have participated. And don't get me wrong, I fucking hate Pelosi. I think that she is a piece of shit centrist liberal and doesn't do anything for the Black community. But in this case, she knows her shit. She knows the law, she knows the Constitution, and she's going to figure out as best as she can a way to fuck up the guys that were involved in this.
Oh, well, she's pissed. Section 3. She's like a woman scorned in a way.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. I knew it was the 14th. It was in there somewhere. So before we kind of wrap up, there was one other thing about this episode that I wanted to kind of highlight. I mean, I have a lot of notes that I didn't even talk about, but the homage to Do the Right Thing that was happening throughout this entire episode is just like, I didn't realize it at first. Dean had to say it, and then I watched the episode again with that in mind and realized how much it really just kind of like the flow of the beginning, the heat wave, the music, carrying around a boombox.
We were like,
all the way down.
We were like, we saw that on something. I read it on something. I was like, I didn't see that at all. Like I didn't pick up on it.
Right, I was like that too.
Okay.
Yeah, so when Huey throws the garbage can through the lemonade stand, it was throwing it through the window of the pizza place. Yes. So the first couple times I was like, I don't really see it. And then I like really was like, oh, okay, that's like that. Okay, that's probably from that. So I just thought that was really cool how without it being a do the right thing thing, like it didn't have the two different races versus each other. It was all about, something like that happening in a very white neighborhood. It still kind of had the same impact because you had the cops shooting and beating up a black man and getting away with it. And, you've got the DA going, everyone must remain calm, which is from Do the Right Thing, where they are not remaining calm in that. But in this, he's like, oh, right. It's almost like the death of a black man didn't matter to them. And so I wanted to point that out just because I read it too and I didn't believe it until it just clicked for me. So it's kind of like that Dick Cheney and George W. Bush, Onceler III comparison. Oh, yeah. Like the first couple times I was like, nah. And then I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, okay.
And then you see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once
again, in fact, I'm gonna make Dean watch that movie this weekend because he's never actually seen it, which I was shocked because it was like an integral part of my childhood. So, like Spike Lee movies were what I thought Black communities were like. Like that was because I didn't have any Black communities around me, and Spike Lee movies, they made me cry and they made me cheer and they made me laugh. So for me, that was the Black community.
Had you seen School Days? Did you think that's what Black colleges were like? I mean,
I don't remember if I saw School Days before or after.
Oh, okay.
I was that age.
School Days was great.
Do the Right Thing came out when I was like, I don't know, in middle school, I think. Now I have to wait. No, that can't be right. How old am I?
I love School Days. Yeah, I love School Days. I remember being like 9 or 10 and thinking like, yes, I really
89
connected very easily to the color aspect of it. The darker and the lighter black. I definitely connected to that, being that I had just moved to Elk Grove. So it was a lot for a 10, 11-year-old to kind of come to terms with. But the movie was delivered and the message was delivered in such a way that I could identify, what the purpose of the movie was. School Days? 88. Yeah, School Days, 88. Yeah, I was that. Like I said, I was 10
Do the Right Thing was
11,
89,
yeah.
so
yeah.
So yeah, we are real close to the age.
Yeah, it's
I don't remember. I don't remember if I saw it when I was that age or if I didn't see it until I was older. Like Do the Right Thing really sticks out to me. And then there was another one that was in the early 90s. Shit.
Jungle Fever.
My 12-year-old loves that song. My 12-year-old loves that freaking song. That's one of his songs he's been playing like on repeat. That and Careless Whisper.
Every white boy that tried to date me in the 90s was singing that song.
Oh yeah. And it's so if you listen to it now, like because my son plays it on repeat, it is not like it's not the most empowering song that there is.
Right?
Like it's not that great.
Absolutely.
We used to that's why I remember it. We got spanked for, like, we would tease each other by saying, "You've got jungle fever."
Yeah.
I still to this day don't know why that was a bad thing, but I remember that fucking spanking. I'll tell you that.
And that's what they wanted you to remember. They want you to remember the spanking in the lesson.
So I think so.
She likes you because you're from the jungle and you're a beast, so like the song is playing Black people as animals. And that's why it was Jungle Fever.
And Stevie Wonder sang that song with so much just wow. Yeah. But yeah, I told my son, you have to find another song. Like, you've got to find another one.
So yeah, it was okay. So Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X, and that time in between those two movies was basically when I started trying to understand why I felt so different from what I saw Black people as, and why the white people that I knew were not like the same way as the white people on screen with Black people, and like so that was all shit. Malcolm X definitely See, that was
So I have a story about Malcolm X. So Malcolm X came out. My dad, it was summer. My dad came in my room and threw the book at me, and he's like, "You're grounded until this book is done." And I was like, what? Like, literally, not read this book, but he knew that the movie was coming out, and he didn't want me to just go and get the movie version.
Yes.
So, and I was like 13 maybe, and I was like, what? I've never read a book so fast in my life. And I used to read like 3 books a week. But
that was absolutely me. I was a voracious reader, and like discovering Malcolm X and James Baldwin around the same time, and Langston Hughes. Oh, Jesus Christ! I was like, I couldn't get my nose out of a book for a while.
Yeah, you were deep into it. You're reading some good stuff. You throw in W.E.B. Du Bois. Yeah, you would have been like, real.
Du Bois.
It's Du Bois.
I didn't know how to pronounce it. Was Du Bois, but when I was a kid, nobody told me how to pronounce it. So I always thought it was Du Bois.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I did. So I think I said it when we were with Davis, and somebody was like, "What did you say, girl?" I was like, full 23 years old, and I was like, "Oh, my bad."
Ooh, nobody's ever said that out loud for me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Spike Lee is imperative if you really want to know about Black filmmakers and the history of. Now, some of his shit and like the floating shit that he used to do in his movies, like I'm like
random. Yeah, there was a lot of random stuff like that.
Yeah, but definitely School Days is something that I think it's about the time that I would like probably sit down. I don't know. I think School Days is a good story for girls, I think, for little Black girls to watch. I'm trying to see if how it would be a benefit to my children, like my 12-year-old. Because he's more like I said before, he's like more like 72. He's not 12.
Have your boys seen He Got Game?
No.
That's a good one. It's Denzel.
Juice knows about it. He might have, because he knows reality.
Okay.
I mean, when my 12-year-old told me the other day, I tried to watch She Gotta Have It, but I was like, no, you did not.
No, baby, no, no.
No, don't watch that one. You're not allowed to watch that one. So yeah, that's where we are with him. Yeah.
In a couple years, when you're old enough.
And we can have a conversation. And he will definitely, because he's he comes and tells us everything. So that conversation, when he does want to talk about, I'm going to send him to his dad. You guys go fishing.
Your kid's going to be so completely sex positive, it's going to be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Especially because mom doesn't have on clothes 94% of the time that we're at home. So
only 94? I thought it would be much higher.
So yeah, we don't play that. I don't want them to be the type that I saw in high school or that I saw in college. Like, you could tell that there was no talk about sexuality or body positivity or anything, because as soon as they saw a titty, they went crazy.
I mean, tits are awesome. So.
Very true. But I don't want them to go crazy where they are regretting something that happens in college, or they get too deep into a relationship or something like that.
Absolutely.
Or every titty or penis that they see. Well, I don't have any girls, so I don't have to worry about. But okay, that's why I stopped myself. But any body part that they see, they just go crazy over. I want to be like, all right, it's there.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want it to be a bad thing or a crazy thing for breastfeeding and shit like that. That is
sorry.
People still trip over people breastfeeding, and I don't get it.
Right?
Yeah, it's
just breasts in general, like Facebook censoring female nipples but not male nipples.
Oh
and, it's just so, everything is just so stupid like that. Like,
yeah, it's so crazy.
There's as if you are a site that basically requires your users to be a certain age before they have an account. If you're not checking on that, that's your deal.
And
that's your fault. That's your problem.
Sure don't.
And they don't. But if they require you to have a certain minimum age, and you can have groups that are explicitly like adult only, why not let the adults choose for themselves?
Because they're like, go to OnlyFans. That's why.
Right. Well, it used to be go to Tumblr, and then Tumblr was like, oh no, we're a Christian now. And
yeah. I know. Why did Tumblr all of a sudden? And Tumblr did it like where people were like, "You're doing what now?"
Yeah,
yeah. Because Tumblr was definitely where you could go. I mean,
They got bought out by Yahoo, which they turned.
I mean, why is Yahoo
turned a little more
thing?
right leaning.
Twitter doesn't
I don't
care
have
at
any
all.
idea.
Yeah, Twitter though. You want to see some stuff? Twitter will show you everything. I'm surprised at shit that comes across my timeline.
Only thing they censor is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I follow a couple of thirst posting things on there, but generally it's usually like, here's everything but, the goods, and here's my OnlyFans.
Oh no.
So-
Well, then you need to follow something. Yeah. 'Cause see, I don't have to post
Although, hey,
anything.
I support anybody's OnlyFans. If you have an OnlyFans out there, feel free to send it to me. I might subscribe.
That's great. Sex
Yes.
industry workers support you only if your content's going to be good. Sex work.
That is
They call
true.
sex industry.
That is true. If I'm going to shell out for someone's OnlyFans, I'm unless you are specifically like your OnlyFans is reading Shakespeare while standing on one foot in the kitchen. I don't know, whatever.
But not
if it's quirky-
$49.99. Like, don't
Right,
come
right.
appropriately priced.
Basically, what I'm saying is, shit's hard for everybody out there right now. Support everybody, no matter what it is that they're making money on, because people got to live. So,
Yeah, I'm all for it. Do what you got to
for
do. I don't care if you're
Right.
selling. Somebody actually hit me up trying to sell legal. What is it? Legal aid? What was that shit that people used to try to sell back in the day? It was called legal. It's like something like legal aid. And I was like, wow, people are still doing that in 2021? It was like where you got legal services. You paid into it and it was like cheaper. You would get cheaper legal services if you needed it. Legal aid or legal services.
I don't think we had that up here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. I don't think that was just a California hustle. It could have been.
Sounds like the mob.
Yeah, I through my work, I have a, it's like insurance. So I pay into it, and it's not a lot. It's like $10 a paycheck
For
and
legal? I've heard them doing that for medical stuff.
So if I
but-
need legal aid for something, then I've paid into this service. Yeah. So I mean, it's at least I think I'm still paying into it unless I've canceled it.
I mean,
there's so much other stuff that I'm paying into with my paycheck that I mean that this would have been a minor thing.
Yeah. But it was something like, it's like, what's the other one that starts with a P? The very obvious pyramid scheme.
That's a little different.
Yeah. Anywho, it was like somebody hit me up for that the other day. And at first I was like, girl, come on. If we don't there are so many other work from home things or side hustles you can have. But then I thought, you know what? Don't knock anybody up. Like whatever anybody's doing, as long as it's legal and, they're not trying to cause any harm, then it's good.
I might not want to buy your wax warming scenty thingy, but I might want to buy your leggings. So,
Yeah, depending on which company they're from with the leggings, depending.
Right. Well, true. Very true.
Yeah, but so everybody have a hustle. We see that this was, kind of a good little back, to the episode. Jasmine was trying to have her little hustle. We see how,
don't let the man get you down.
Yeah. And I did want to say one thing that it reminded me of as well is the cannabis industry. Mm-hmm. How there are people that go through equity programs, or there's people that, get an investor, and that investor just completely ends up taking over. And that person ends up becoming like an employee anyway. So it kind of, that's what it kind of reminded me of as I was watching it. And it kind of sucks as far as it says a really big message about, knowing your business, owning your own. I mean, having like 100% rights to it, not having to count on anybody else. And the hard lessons that come with kind of entrepreneurship in the United States and in our society.
And also kind of in the same vein, how capitalism can kind of turn us against each other when we're just like Jasmine just wanted to save up for a horse. And if she had just sold her own lemonade for 200 and whatever times, she would have been able to do it and she would have had her money. Whereas Onceler buying her company and pretty much doing nothing but advertising, got her to sell almost 5,000 things of lemonade, and she still didn't have enough for that horse.
Yeah.
She owed him money in the end. So,
and she got it was funny how she got really greedy, and, her whole demeanor changed, and how money, will do that, and the possibility of something that she wanted. And, you know, for most people, that's the, you know, that's success and money. That's fame. That's notoriety. That's all that. She wanted a damn horse, you know, and she was going to do whatever needed to be done for that horse. And
she absolutely couldn't see how she was being taken advantage of. And that's just kind of the modern worker does not, all those people who voted for Trump, and he gives no shits about them. They think that they are working for somebody who's there for them, who's working for them, who's like going to make them great.
Yeah. And he doesn't give a shit about them. He doesn't give a shit. Yeah. You know,
which is exactly what happens with Onceler. You know, he just makes a name for it and then steals it and is like, oh, poor kid, you owe me money.
And was not apologetic about it, though.
Right.
And this is what, the fourth episode, where he ends up coming out, where he's going to end up getting something that he wants. And, you know, once again, you know, Aaron is just a genius and psychic, and he's telling us all. He's telling us all.
Well, on that note, does anybody have anything that they want to share now that we have reached the end of our episode? Final thoughts?
No, I'm just hungry, guys.
So is my dogs.
I'm just fucking hungry.
Well, go eat. We don't want you to wither
The bitches
away.
are hungry. Yes, exactly.
All right, everybody out there in the listening sphere, I don't know what the fuck you would call it. Stay home. When you hear this episode, we're getting close to Inauguration Day. We're almost there. We can do it. The vaccines are coming. Trump is getting run out of office. If we're really, really lucky, we will make it out of this without civil war. Not holding my breath, but stay safe. Keep your family safe. Stay home if you can. Wear a mask if you can't.
And if you can't, you know, or if you don't have one, Mary Jane Maven has some beautiful masks that I do now have in my merch store. So you guys can purchase one of those and represent. But also I am, the podcast is back this week. So everybody check us out. I will be live. And of course we are on all platforms. And I am looking for guest co-host, collaboraters, and sponsorship. So if anybody's interested in that, hit me up on my Twitter.
Fantastic. All right, friends. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Hey, thanks for joining us again as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back next week for the Passion of Reverend Ruckus.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-we-3-undo.
Shout out to the artists who've created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #Make a Change by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.